Hello everyone, this is Graveyard Haunts, and right now I am in the parking lot of the Elkmont ghost town. Now, Elkmont came about back in the 1840s when it used to be called Little River. So this area was called Little River until into the 1900s, around 1916 when it was called renamed Elkmont. During that time frame, there were train stations that went through here, a lot of freight train activity. There also was a sawmill that was built. A lot of the workers worked there. Hundreds of men worked at the sawmill. And one interesting story about this is it is now called a ghost town. You'll see several different cabin type buildings within the area. Now, when this was built, what's interesting is it was for the purpose of those with more money. Rich people actually came here and spent their weekends most of the time. A lot of people from Knoxville. So this was high society as its best. There were at the time almost 70 cabin type structures here. Today, there's about less than 20 left. There's 18 or 19 that they did keep. The others they have destroyed. Back when the national park took over in 1934, they gave the people that owned the venues their option that they could stay here in these cabins or they could leave. Well, they did give them the option that they could live in them until death. So there were renewals every 10 to 20 years that they did do. The last ones did live until about 1992. So at that time, they did make it historic registry, did keep, like I say, about 18 to 19 of the structures, and currently they're in the phase of remodeling them back to their original state. Now we'll take a walk by and take a look at some of them and see what we can find. And also, as I said, this is called a ghost town. A lot of men did lose their lives in this area, especially at the sawmill. One interesting story is at the cemetery. I also mentioned there was a man whose leg was actually decapitated inside the sawmill. Now, his leg is actually built in a grave in Elkmont Cemetery, but it's just his leg. Years later, when he passed away, the rest of his body was buried in one of the cemeteries by Gatlinburg. And over here we have a little map. It says back to nature. Shows a little bit about what it looked like back then with the people coming, spending their weekends here. Again, it was high society. We have some of the structures over here you can see. Most of them are taped off or barricaded where you really can't walk through them right now. We'll see if there's any further down that you might be able to take a look in. This place is very eerie at nighttime. A lot of people lost their lives at the sawmill, and a couple of men even lost their life on the freight trains. Now, it's said that they haunt this area in the evening hours, especially the men that lost their lives on the freight train. This is one of the ones they've remodeled. They must have had brilliant colors back then because most of these are very, very bright in the colors that they're making them. There's blue down there. This one is like a barn red. This one is black. Looks like there's a little cabin over here that we might be able to take a look at. We have a sign over here, Daisy Town. The buildings you see along this shaded street are a hodgepodge of designs. These rustic cabins were built by city dwellers inspired by the Back to Nature movement, influenced by the craftsman style of architecture, which emphasized simplicity and the use of natural materials. Some cabins are made of board and batten, while others use rough-hewn logs. Outdoor living spaces, such as large porches, brought nature into these mountain retreats. Rustic design continued in the interior, with exposed wood ceilings, walls, and floors. Here again are some old photos. And if you go further down outside of this area, you'll see a lot of stone fireplaces and such. Those were actually other cabins and structures that were outside the area that people stayed in when they came here to do their vacation. There's a couple of side roads that go out there. Here's one of the structures that is now open that you can take a look in. As I walk through some of these, I won't be able to visually see it until you see it on film, but there may be some orbs or some ghost smoke or some other features that show up from those that haunt the buildings that may have used to come here and enjoy their little weekends. Let's see what we have over here. We have a big mud pit in front. If there are any spirits lingering within this building that would like to show themselves in front of my guests, please show yourself as an orb or a ghost manifestation. Interesting. This one has a small sink. This may have been the bathroom, a very small bathroom. And then another very small bedroom in the back part. That's an outside view of the one that we just went through prior, the wooden one. It's a large one up here that we'll take a look at when we come back. They do have several of these open now. Across the street we have a few. Let's see what's in this green one. Looks like a larger building. There also was a hotel back here down the side road not far from us. Yeah, this structure had multi-rooms in it. And if there's any spirits inside this dwelling that would like to present themselves to myself and my guests, please show yourself as an orb. That's locked, but that, as you can see through the window, was a restroom. Oh, this one has a kitchen. Very big. And it had an outside porch. This one actually used to be very nice looking and extra large for being back that many years ago. Let's take a look inside this one. This one had a fireplace. A nice side room. If there's any spirits lingering in this dwelling, please show yourself as an orb or a ghost manifestation. Kitchen. You can't really tell it, but probably if you were taller than 5'8", your head would probably be grazing on the roof in the kitchen. Little Dutch painted cupboard. This one's oddly built because the ceilings are all slanted downward, like in one of those maze houses that you might go in. This is the dead end. We'll take a look in this one. It looks like a extra large one. Welcome. Again, if there are any spirits lingering within this dwelling that would like to show themselves, appear as an orb or ghost smoke, crescent moon must be the bathroom. Can we see inside? Even two of the bed springs left. Again, we're in the Elkmont ghost town, where the spirits linger in the evening from the freight train and those that lost their lives at the sawmill. This one they've almost redone to look like something they would build today. Again, this area thrived around 1916 on into the early 30s. Again, 1934 is when the Great Smoky Mountain National Park came about. Now this one is extra large. There's a very large porch outside. Can't really tell, but we're up several feet high. Here's the kitchen. One thing that's interesting about these buildings, even though they're large, the bedrooms are very tiny. Most of them only large enough for maybe a twin bed. There's the old sink, restroom. Looks like your larger ones, you have the luxury of your own restroom. There's also been an overabundance. I haven't seen any through this area here, probably because tourists do come and go so much. But lots of wild turkey are out today. The weather's chilly in the 40s, so they're liking that. Well, this one has like a little wishing well. There it is. Oh, it's this little thing. It's got a number on it and a flagpole, but it even has a fireplace in it. So it must have been a little cabin also, though it looks like something that you would salt your meat in and keep it through the winter. We've got one more here that we'll go through. Well, this one has a big living room type entrance with the fireplace. And then over here is your mini bedroom again. Can't be more than 6 foot, 6 by 9, 6 by 10. Opens up again to the woods. This one had its own little backyard. There's a couple of are off of the regular path. There's a little tiny one. And mountain stones all over. These were built around them, obviously. It's just a little one-roomer. Must have been for those that are working on getting their self to the wealthier ones. Doors closed, shall we knock? Any spirits wanting to welcome us? Come on out. Another small room with a slanted roof. A large kitchen. There's a big room. This is like a little utility room. Wash your clothes. Because here's the bathroom. Bathrooms are all locked up. They don't want us to use them. Therefore, they have the porta pots up front, which makes me think to wait until there's some emptiness in the woods. There's a squirrel in front of us, gathering acorns for his winter nap. Again, here's a panoramic view of some of the dwellings that are here. And many of them we did go in. Well, I hope you enjoyed our short tour of the Elkmont ghost town. And hopefully we might have seen some orbs. On some occasion, we'll come back and do some nighttime activity and see if we can find something during the evening hours. That'll be interesting. But again, this is a ghost town. There have been several people that have died horrific deaths in this area, and usually that's when they'll linger. Again, there used to be a log wood sawmill and also freight trains that went through here. So we'll see if we found any today. If not, I hope you enjoyed looking at some of these old structures and reminiscing the thoughts of the days gone by back in the 30s, um, going on close to 100 years ago, where people used to come here and have a good time. Thanks again for watching.